Over here I have a leaking toilet, and I'm at the back of the toilet, and this is a wax seal that has now dried out and water is escaping. Well, it's actually sewage is escaping at the bottom here. And I'll quickly flush the toilet. And there you can see the water is building up from the pressure, and underneath here it's all wet on my finger. And just be aware, this is now sewage, because this is coming from the pan, not the cistern. Now the reason this has happened is this wax has become brittle and dried out. So there you can see it's now almost like a plaster instead of a wax, and there it's even a hole there, and unfortunately this is a dirty job. So what needs to happen is this whole wax seal needs to be removed and a new wax seal needs to be put in place. In order to do the repair, you'll need some wax sealing rings. The correct way to repair this is to remove all this wax, clean it out, and then replace it with new wax. But if you're in a big hurry and you just want to do an interim solution, you can just remove the part that is damaged. So you'll see that it's just this part over here, and I could remove that. And once I remove it, what we find is the wax is not so sticky like it used to be. So you can actually heat it up using an open flame. Over here, I have a fire lighter, or you can take a heat gun and just heat it up just a little bit, but be very careful because this is plastic, and then when you insert the new wax, it will work quite well, even though you're doing a patch job. But for this repair, I want to demonstrate the correct procedure, and the first step is to now clean out all the wax, which is what I'm going to do now. Now this wax can be quite sticky, so I recommend using some latex gloves, and also remember that this is now sewage. Now there is a rubber boot here that goes around the pan. Notice that I'm not using a lot of force. This could have just been a finger as stated. You can also just use your finger because you don't want to pierce this rubber seal here. So now I'm just using my finger to get rid of the remaining wax here. To remove the remaining wax, you can use mineral spirits or isopropyl alcohol or even a commercial wax remover. But I actually just use enamel thinners. I find it very good at removing waxy substances. But just remember that enamel thinners can damage surrounding paintwork. Now it's imperative that this is completely clean. So there you can see I've removed all the old wax and any dirt. Of course, if I flush it now, water will just come out here. So what I need to do is prepare it for the new wax seal. Right, so to clean it, I did use enamel thinners, which helped me get all the wax off. It helps in dissolving the wax. So I'm just taking a alcohol. You don't have to do this step. As long as it's dry inside, it's fine. So I'm just doing a final clean with the alcohol. You can use ammonia, anything that you want that leaves it completely oil-free now. Right, so I've sprayed alcohol here and I've just cleaned it. If I move my finger in here, there is just the residue of the rubber. There's no wax left in here and it is completely dry. Now I'm going to start with the wax. All right, so here's the wax ring. They're not all the same. This is quite a soft one, so it does depend where you are. If it's very cold where you are, you might find that the wax is quite rigid. All right, so this one is quite soft. Now I can just feed this in. So that's what I'm doing. You don't have to keep it in the ring. You actually just need to feed it in there. Now this is where I also recommend wearing gloves because this is very sticky. It's quite difficult to get this off your hands afterwards. So there you can see how the wax is getting inside the collar here. And I'm pushing it inside there. So note that I'm actually pressing it with my finger. You see, I'm actually pressing it inside there. And as I press it, I get some more. And don't worry if it's making a mess around the sides. We'll just clean that up afterwards. I'm pressing it so it goes quite deep inside there. Right, so it is completely impacted in here. I can't put any more. If I put any more, it pops out the side. That's how I know it is enough. Right, not all wax is as sticky as this. Some wax is a little bit more rigid, and what you can do is you can actually open it, try and get it round there and then seat it inside. So best practice is to open it up. So you open it up and then try to wrap it round, and once it's wrapped round, you press it in like that. Now you might find that your wax is very, very stiff. You can leave it in the sun or put it in the microwave for a bit and then it will soften. And once it's softened, you can squeeze it into the spaces where the collar and the pan meet. But the wax I've used here is almost like a pasty wax. So what I need to do is just clean up all around here, and I'll just take my cloth and wipe away any of the excess wax. Right, now with a wet cloth, I just wipe away the excess wax that I don't want. This wax responds to water, so if I want to smooth it out, you can then just wet your finger and smooth it out. So my finger is completely wet, and there I'm just smoothing it out. And you can also paint over this wax if need be. You can actually spray it with some water if you want, and then just smooth it out. Even if you flush the toilet, it will no longer leak. This is the other side, and the job is now completed. Just a reminder, there are different types of wax seals. The one I used was very pasty, while this one, for example, is more like putty. Nevertheless, you follow the same procedure. It's just the one that I've used is probably the most difficult in terms of the mess. Just make sure if you are using the more firmer wax seal that you do press it in very firmly inside the collar. Thanks for watching, and cheers.